is day 1500 and wow, 35. 1535 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered. Maybe I'm not allowed to say that. Maybe I've been told I should say unalived. Unalived. A code red. Let's just say code red. Maybe I'm allowed to say that. So Richard was code red murdered, and on Fort Bliss, and I needed to make that really clear. Let's see if we're on. And every day I need to make it clear. Okay. Okay, I want to see. I hear myself. Thank you. So happy Saturday, everybody. We're, on this battle to get accountability. We're in the wave of accountability. We can't rest until we hold these criminals accountable. And there's lots of them. There's lots, because with a code red, you have to have a lot, right? When you have an internal order for the murder of a U.S. Army soldier, that's a whistleblower. At the border, in the borderland, there has to be a lot of people, a lot of criminals involved in this scheme. And one of those is Bill Hicks. And we put together a song. I'm going to see if you can hear it. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see.
Hey, media, can't you see? You're spinning tails and missing key. Bill Hicks is scheming, and you know it's true. With his power plays and cash in view, the media keeps spinning, but they're getting it all wrong. Talking up Bill Hicks like he's been good all along. But we've been shouting out, and they can hear the sound. He's scheming El Paso all around, trying to tear justice down. Oh, Bill Hicks, yeah, you play our games, but the truth is spreading out. Gonna bring your shame, from the Walmart case to Halliday's call. You've been lying, you've been scheming, but we'll expose it all. Failed to sign that statement, briberies in your wake, swore an oath you're breaking. How much more will break? Money's in your pocket, conflicts you disguise, but the people see you now, they won't believe your lies. Oh, Bill Hicks, yeah, you play your games, but the truth is spreading out. Gonna bring your shame, from the Walmart case to Halliday's call. You've been lying, you've been scheming, but we'll expose it all. Truth, kept Patrick's autism hidden from world's view. Richard Halliday's name you tried to erase, but justice is calling for your mugshot face. Bill Hicks, oh, Bill Hicks is telling you, see, can't keep pretending to be what you can't be. Prosecuted instead of playing pretend. The games are over, it's time your schemes end.
Yep.
Oh, Bill Hicks, yeah, you play your games, but the truth is spreading out. Gonna bring your shame, from the Walmart case to Halliday's call. But we'll expose it all. We'll expose it all. Oh, Bill Hicks, yeah, you play your games.
Wait for it.
Believe expose it all. There makes. Believe expose it all. Play politics while covering up truth. Kept Patrick's autism hidden from world's view. Richard Halliday's name you tried to erase, but justice is calling for your mugshot face. Bill Hicks, oh Bill Hicks, it's time you see. You can't keep pretending to be what you can't be. Prosecuted instead of playing pretend. The games are over, it's time your schemes end. Oh, we'll expose it all. Oh, Bill Hicks.
Yeah, I'll put that to video. Um, it'll be a pleasure to put Bill Hicks's make a meme, with a mugshot face for that music video. It'll be a pleasure, because you have to understand what he's done. He's a usurper. He interfered with the election, and I needed to put that in the song, because you know, Yvonne Rosales is the duly elected district attorney, and he schemed with Justin Underwood, with John Briggs, with Bob Moore, to remove her and to replace her, which was an assault on the election rights of the people of El Paso. And not only that, but with all of the evidence that we have, including the witness of Loretta Lynn Hewitt, he has admitted to playing politics with with the Walmart mass shooting case, which he absolutely did. And we know that from this week when Joe Spencer came out to reveal to the world that something we've been saying since December of 2023, that Patrick Crusius has autism. And that, along with a severe mental health condition, which then leads to why didn't they do a mental health evaluation on him? Because they haven't done that yet with all the millions of dollars that they've collected. And if you do one little background check on Bill Hicks, he was in big trouble. He was in big financial trouble. He couldn't even pay his rent. He was in trouble with the state bar. He was in very bad. He was not qualified to even be up and running. He was the bottom of the barrel when it comes to who you would want to pick to be a district attorney, especially for borderland El Paso, especially for the beautiful ancient city of El Paso. And I'll say that over and over again, because it is prime property. It is very, very important property when you know that there is history there, and things have been already prepared. And, why do you think they're called the miners? Why do you think El Paso is called the miner? The UTEP is called the miners, because there's things that are buried that are precious, absolutely precious. And you have a lot of people going out there with their metal detectors and such, and drones looking for things, because it's an ancient city. It has a very wealthy history, and so a lot of the scheming is for real estate deals, for property deals, for waterway deals to build up that area, and that can be a whole set of podcasts on that. And so Bill Hicks is a tool, brought up from the bottom of the barrel to be a schemer, to be a sham, to be a usurper of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office, which is absolutely criminal, because that position is so important. And why am I talking about that today? Because El Paso Times, who we have been in communication with, put out a puff piece about Bill Hicks when they absolutely have been notified of all the criminal scheming that Bill Hicks has done and the damage that it does to El Paso, to El Pasoans, to the justice system. And, it seems like El Paso Times has sold its soul to the devil for some cash. I mean, maybe they're desperate for cash, but to sell their soul out to the likes of Bill Hicks when they have major stories that they can cover, like Patrick Crucius, autism, and what that means for the Walmart mass shooting case. 5 years, 5 years of keeping El Pasoans in the dark about the mental health condition of Patrick Crucius. That's a huge story. And also that Patrick Crucius was magistrated through this El Paso criminal law magistrate court, which the whole panel we have exposed. Thank you to Team Fine Richard Halliday. That they are appointed judges, and that is illegal. And it's illegal since 2015. So the scheming and the scamming and the illegal orders and arraignments that have come out of uh, that court is interfering with thousands of cases, botched thousands of cases, because those appointed sitting with their robes on the bench with their little gavel, with their big gavel, because this is a distinct court, quote unquote, a distinct court that has full countywide jurisdiction, and therefore it is required by the Texas Constitution in order to protect the people of the county from this incredible power, this big hammer that they hold, because they control all of the criminal investigations, right? They control the investigations. Um, these impersonators, because that's what they are right now. They're criminal impersonators, just like Bill Hicks, just like John Briggs, just like Mario Raskin Ortiz, the El Paso judicial officer holding the chief medical examiner's position. So we have imposters and usurpers in the most vital, crucial positions in El Paso. And that has to end. That absolutely has to end, because they are hurting. How many deaths does there have to be? How much crime does there have to be? How much fentanyl has to come over the border? How much human trafficking? How much kid trafficking? How many children need to die? How many guns need to be trafficked with all of the bullets, all of the ammunition, all of the equipment? How much of that has to be trafficked and then schemed and scammed and money laundered and everything like that? And the good people of El Paso, those that try to live a good law abiding life, have to pay for these crimes, and they have to pay dearly. And so these criminals are absolutely demons. They're devils. They're absolutely polluting the beautiful El Paso. They're absolutely corrupting even the land. Even the land. If you care about environmentalism, when you become very poor, it harms the land itself. The mining gets out of hand, the greed gets out of hand, the scraping of the land gets out of hand. The water contracts, the building contracts, the military the destruction to cover up all the scheming and the scamming and the criminal activity and the trafficking um, shows in the people and in the land. And so this has to stop, and we have to stand up to protect our country, literally our country. And the Constitution is the defense of the land and the people, literally the land and the people. And so, um, it is time for this criminal network, which is, it seems big, right? It seems really big, but, um, you know, they're bullies. They're bullies. And when the little fish get together, they become much, much bigger than the bully fish, right? If you've ever read that little story, um, I have grandchildren, so of course, um, there's uh, so many stories where when you have God beside you and above you and around you, what do you have to fear, right? You have nothing to fear but God alone. And these schemers and scammers, they have no ethics, they have no loyalty, and so they don't even have loyalty to each other. Um, and I think in Lord of the Ring, the the portrayal that was portrayed very well with the orcs, right? With the orcs, how they do not even have loyalty with each other. Um, they will backstab each other in a heartbeat. And this is what Richard was telling Boleyn. They act like they respect you. They act like they support you, but they don't. They don't. And you see that with what's happening in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. These government agencies that have been infiltrated by these criminals, they act like they care about you and everything, and then put up FEMA and all this, and then they misuse it. They misuse it and they'll backstab you. Um, so it's you can see it micro in El Paso and macro in the country. The betrayal is spreading, and that's because we desperately need accountability. And that's why, even with the official declaration of death for our son, Richard Halliday, with all the receipts, even though, some of those are in question because of the enormous, terrible retaliation that he suffered, which will rectify, God will rectify it. Um, we're working day in and day out um, to get justice for our son. But even with the declaration of death, which was huge, which was so huge, I can't even tell you how huge it is, and we don't even realize how huge it is. Um, Even with that, we first and foremost want his remains, and we want accountability to those that ordered, participated in the retaliation, ordered his code red murder, participated in the cover up. And the prime suspects are the Hart family, right? Dallas Hart, his platoon leader, and Leilani Hart, the confirmed convicted criminal that absolutely exposed James Hart for in the affidavit for his for a sin. Let's call it what it is. When you engage in incest, when you engage in hurting children, taking advantage of children, using and abusing children, um, and really using and abusing children, and then even buying weapons illegally and filming it, so you have child porn, and trying to profit off of all of it, and then money laundering it through the profits through different businesses, and more trafficking to try to profit off of, the weapons and the ammunition and all of this stuff. Um, and and then this is after putting up a pretty good network, being part of a pretty good network. No, everybody has to admit that, through disability benefits, through the military links, using and abusing our beautiful military to take advantage of it. Um, it's just so criminal. It's all so criminal. And of course, Lalani Hart and Dallas Hart are with CID agent Tavita Nusa, which we just found some information from that Marlon Soto gave to us at the beginning that let us know a little bit more about Tavita Nusa. That is just really, really important to the case, um, and more hard evidence that they were covering up, that they were manipulating, that they were intentionally interfering with the case so that it would just stay, be like a cold case or whatever. But it was never a cold case. It was never a cold case. And I remember Jessica Veltri, CID Quantico forensic expert, which she's just the lowest of the barrel too, lowest of the barrel, and also has committed the egregious crimes in this case. I was saying that Richard was a cold case. They had no new leads, and she had never even been to Fort Bliss. She had never um, even interviewed the whistleblower that they like to call a source. They like to call our whistleblower a source. And when all that, when everyone understands all the finer points to this case, they're just really, really the death penalty needs to be on the table. And to see the mugshot face will be a happy sight for us. And I have to tell you, from what we know now, and this a treason to order the murder of an active duty whistleblower soldier in the borderland, when they were exposing, Richard was exposing kid trafficking, child trafficking. And when you have hundreds of thousands of children, this is not one child, this is not 10 child. That's bad enough, right? That deserves a death penalty right there, in my estimation. But this is hundreds of thousands of children trafficked that are mostly dead, And so they absolutely, um, thank you for coming on. They absolutely deserve to be tried with and I don't even like the lethal injection so much. That's what's going on right now. I feel like maybe that could be fraud or whatever. Um, and I never, ever, ever, ever expected in my life to speak like this, but they absolutely have committed the worst of the worst crimes in this case. And, you know, I try to tell you what Team Find Richard Halliday has exposed day in and day out. And some of it I'm not at liberty to say because um, we're trying to get accountability, right? We're trying to get accountability. Um, but all of that, the floodgates are open. It's all going to come out, because I'm all for that, that people will know I'm not like a Bill Hicks. I would never hide something very important like, Patrick Crucius has autism. That's super important. And for any educator, for anybody that works with mental health, individuals with mental health conditions, they absolutely know that that changes everything in the case, because he could never, ever, ever do what he did alone. And of course, we know that the mass shooting was not a lone shooter, but they put forth that that narrative. And why is it important? Because Richard's case is totally intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case, and them lying about the lone shooter also shows you a pattern of their lying, of their manipulation, of their interference in the truth, in justice, which is also egregious, just so criminal. And this pattern that they tried to do with Richard with a campaign to smear him, to put out a false narrative. And Bob Moore did that, and he ran. We gave him a cease and desist, and he ran from it. He ran from it because he knows he's damn guilty, you know, and he's so guilty, for what he has done. And justice is coming. And like Bill Hicks with his mugshot face and disgrace, Bob Moore is also a disgrace and needs to have. And I'll be very happy. I'm thinking about even painting them, these mugshot faces of disgrace. But God says we need to focus on what's good and beautiful and true. And to me, that's pretty good to see accountability with these people that have just betrayed us and committed these egregious crimes. So let's see what's written here. Thank you so much for coming on. Um, Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. I'm going to try to put that song, with a music video. And I wanted to kind of change it a little bit. Of course, it's an AI generated song. Um, that we put together the lyrics, and then you put the lyrics in, and you kind of and you have to try like 20 times to try to get the right kind of music to go with the lyrics and everything. It's pretty time consuming, um, but of course, um, it's really effective when you get it right. And I really wanted to, because I really love that mugshot face line, um, how it turned out, and I wanted to switch it over to be in the chorus, but then the music wouldn't be right. So it's um, yeah. So I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with the Judge Madrano one. I think when people understand, and I really need to add something about, maybe I have to make another music video just on how Bob Moore with Bill Hicks, with Justin Underwood, with John Briggs, um, are scheming from their positions, and they even schemed to remove and replace a duly elected district attorney, Yvonne Rosales, which cannot be. This is why it's so important for all of us to let Yvonne Rosales know. I, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Um, I'm hoping she does the right thing. But what's really important is the principle of this, that they schemed to remove and replace a duly elected district attorney official that people voted for. And that just cannot be allowed, because then our country is doomed. If that happens, she needs to come back, just to come back and say, hell no, you're not going to get away with the scheming and the colluding to remove me and replace me, because the people of El Paso voted for me and put me in that position, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, I am the duly elected district attorney. Just that is worth gold. Just that is worth gold. And they need to be arrested for what they did. We need to have proper elections. And for me, with my faith, with my Christian faith, elections are super important because to me, they are a sacrament. They are a sacrament. They are the hands on of the people. It is like ordination, it is the way of life. And for me, you can't live without, you can't live a good, prosperous life in a good community, safe community without the sacraments. And there is a defense of the sacraments, um, and it should be taught in all the schools. But it's so important. It's so important for law and order. And they have been attacked and attacked and attacked. Why? Because in order to enslave the people, you have to take away their rights. You have to take away law and order. You have to take away responsibility. And each of the sacraments, from baptism, your rights, right? That baptism symbolizes your rights under God, you being in the family of God. The law and order. When you are confirmed, that is the sacrament of responsibility, saying I'm responsible for my actions. When you get married, that is a sacrament of loyalty to the institution that runs the world. It's called the family. Loyalty to the family. It's the same thing, and then ordination, voting for, like the judges in the magistrate court, that will uphold the law and order, that will take those positions, that will defend your rights and the land. And if you go through the sacraments and you see, you understand how they work in everyday life, you'll understand that Bill Hicks has violated all of that. That Bob Moore has violated that. They want to enslave the people. They want to rob and steal and just be absolutely bring the land down to nothing that can produce anything. And betray family, of course, because they're into kid trafficking. They're into the drug trafficking. They're into the weapons trafficking and the ammunition trafficking, and they're into the real estate deals, the money laundering. They're into using and abusing everything that's good and true and right. And when Richard got there and said, "Hold on a minute. You can't do that to children. You can't do that. Even if she's, not the up and up kind of woman, you can't do that to a young woman. You can't do that to a young mother. You can't do that to the military. You can't do that to El Paso. You can't do that to the Walmart case. You can't do that to Glendon Oakley Jr. I'm reporting you." He said it was so bad. He was in communication with Child Protective Services, with the CID, with IG, with Washington, with FBI. He said something multiple times. And what did Bill Hicks do? He tried to, and this is in the song, he tried to erase Richard. That's why, see, as soon as Yvonne Rosales was elected, July 14th, that that was like, we think, the moment where they said we have to kill Richard Halliday. Because, one, his case, he was exonerated. They had nothing. They couldn't make anything stick. And what they did is they they jumped the gun. They didn't wait for the case to come to a conclusion. They retaliated with him, against him, with the Gomar. They retaliated against him with a maximum punishment and then some field grade Article 15 with a chaptering. They jumped the gun and they absolutely pounded him. And then when he was exonerated, they went, oh crap, that happened on July 9th. What are we going to do? Give him back his rank? Give him back his pay? Say, I'm sorry so much? And then they really panicked when Yvonne Rosales, this is in our opinion now, from talking to many people, when Yvonne Rosales won July 14th, the runoff, they knew, because it's a Democrat area, that she would be the next district attorney. And we think that was the point where they decided we have to kill Richard Halliday. Yeah. And they did. And they did. And when she came in, that January, they were right to fear her because she started looking into the Walmart case, and she wanted she didn't want to make it political. She wanted to prosecute it. And so she called out for a date. She just expressed her desire to have a date. They got scared just because she expressed her desire to have a date, and they knew they didn't control her. And then she looked into the El Paso Community Foundation's distribution of the Walmart Mass Shooting Victims Fund money, and because there was irregularities there. And she was also looking into Richard's case. And 2 days after she fired John Briggs, and John Briggs is a usurper because when he was fired from the Walmart mass shooting case, he faked it. He went into Judge Medrano's chambers and misled the judge. You know, this is where they're orcs, right? Because Judge Medrano's not good. But he still misled Judge Medrano and didn't tell him that he had been fired and taken off of the case. And he continued to prosecute the case even though he had been taken off the case. And this is, people don't understand all of the things that were happening. And of course, why should they? We have checks and balances, and our checks and balances aren't working too good because there is a criminal network that has infiltrated it. And then they plotted and they schemed with that gag order, and you see it because Bill Hicks has broken the gag order. Judge Medrano has broken the gag order. The victims' families have broken the gag order. A lot of people have broken the gag order, but they only meant it to apply Yvonne Rosales to give them a reason to her down and it is and oh, Bill Hicks was going to do everything right, and he's so wrong. He's so wrong. And now, because of other individuals and because of Team Find Richard Halliday, it has absolutely been exposed that Patrick Crucius has autism, and they cannot hide that anymore. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to divert attention. They want to end, I think, my opinion, they want to end the case. He's already been sentenced to about 1,000 years at the Alcatraz of the Rockies. And so I think that they're trying to end the case because as nice as the millions of dollars flowing in is for them to pad their pockets, their greedy little pockets, and do this money grab, which absolutely that's the only reason why they've been doing this for 5 years with nothing. With nothing, it is an absolute cash grab. Um, is is that now they're getting called out in their crimes. And because we have active and ongoing investigations, because we have been filing this, we've been filing it. We just haven't been saying it, in our live streams. We've absolutely have been filing it with many, many organizations and agencies. And now they're like, okay, doing this thing with Joe Spencer, who absolutely, if he's your defense attorney, my goodness, you don't need any enemies, because now after over 5 years, he's coming out and going, oh yeah, by the way, even though I made my client plead guilty in the federal case and gave him, 1,000 prison in the Alcatraz of the Rockies, when I knew that he had autism, and in addition to a severe mental health condition, there's fancy names, schizio, whatever. Um, you know, uh, but I never demanded, never once asked the judge for a mental health evaluation. I mean, he is so criminal, and he got paid lots of money, lots, for this disgusting defense and the disgusting prosecution of the Walmart mass shooting case with so many crimes. And now they just want it to go away because they might have the Halliday family paint a mugshot face of them. Uh, because they need to be arrested. They need to be prosecuted themselves for this crime that they've done. And then you have the media, who we have absolutely notified with all of this. We've notified them in addition to them knowing that we go on and do a live stream every day. In addition to that, we've let Tim Archuleta know. We've let David Candelara know. We've let Bob Moore know. We've let many in the media know what's going on. They have no excuse. And it is absolutely criminal that they're doing a puff piece on Bill Hicks. Absolutely criminal. It's like, when Tim, what's his name? Williams or whatever, William Timmons, our representative, who had really essentially gave us a middle finger when all this was going on. Like, we're not going to answer you. I don't want to answer you. And we know a lot, the pink house thing where they painted the pink house because he was having an affair with some man's wife, and the man didn't take that kindly. And so he bought a house, or he had a house that he was redoing, and he painted it bright pink to let everyone know, what a rotten person William Timmons is. And he is. He's so rotten. And yet, when, the election came, and of course, we're very busy with this case and everything, and he's plastering himself all over as this conservative Republican that wants the rights of the people and everything and wants good things. He's such a liar. Such a liar. And that, it is just what, and the thing is we know that the media here knew about how rotten William Timmons is. And they did, for money. There's power and money here too. And that's what they're doing there in El Paso, is that they are not for the people, they're not for the land, they're not for the children, they're not for the economy. They're only for their own pockets. And and the people are dependent on, they're like, well, what's the news today? What's the news today? And they're being fed crapola. It's it's so disgraceful um, and criminal what they're doing. And they used Ernest Christopher Grant, a criminal, y'all. He is a criminal, as a media sweetheart to frame the narrative of, this race baiting as true when it wasn't at all. It was not at all. That was all a scam. And it's such a terrible, divisive scam. And they mean it to be. That's how evil these people are. They mean it to be. They're very they're perverts. They're pervert, and when you look into their lives too, they're perverts. They're perverts, and they are absolutely in these sex cults, and they just are up to no good in every which way. And we need accountability. I was just about to go to bed and then submitted my North Carolina Emergency Disaster Medical License application. Oh, okay. And I just heard the possible autism for Patrick Crucius from the music lyrics. Yes. The hurricane note, yeah, they came out. I don't know if you know this, but Joe Spencer came out and told the world that his client, over 5 years it's been, and absolutely he has known all along. We have confirmation he's known all along. That's why I was saying it in December of 2023. I've been saying it. We've been right. And we're right about Bill Hicks. He's a usurper. And we're right about the medical examiner. He's also illegal. And, they're trying to pass over this paperwork, right? But it's all a fraud. It's kind of like the travel voucher that Chris Martin passed on to us for Dallas Hart. And we're looking at it and we're like, this is a fraud. And then the picture for the Interpol, which is a fraud. It's so criminal. So we're absolutely right. And it's not us. There's other people that brought this to our attention, that this medical examiner, since 2014, has been acting illegally and being paid, what, $440,000 a year. And he's the one that is a judicial officer to decide the cause and manner of death for all the victims in the Walmart mass shooting and others. And, I was even told that when Supreme Court Scalia died, that's the story, that that the medical examiner was called and said, Mario Raskin Ortiz, if you lay one hand on the Supreme Court justice, you will be in handcuffs the next day. We were told that he was told that. He better not. Well, wait a minute. And I know Supreme Court justice is important, but all the victims in the Walmart mass shooting case is important. Our son's remains are important. He is illegal. He's a criminal. And all of those imposter judges, they're not even judges, they're imposters that are making rulings in the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court are criminals. They are criminals. And they've denied the people of El Paso from their power of election, which protects them. It's a protection because it gives the people power. It's the power of the people to elect those that are sitting on a distinct court that controls all the investigations, those criminal investigations, and, the warrants and the subpoenas and all of that, and then make judgments from the bench and arraignments. They have incredible power, but they have to be checked through election by the power of the people. For viewers, attendance, thank you. It was also treason in the U.S. Army. Yeah, I don't, so many of these cases. I don't. Personally, I thought the music video was perfect. Thank you. I've always, I've always liked to try to put things in rhyme and rhythm and everything because it helps you learn, right? It helps you learn. It's wonderful. Based upon our investigations, absolutely. And we've been investigating. I hope that the state bar can revoke their powers. Yeah, they need to. We've put in state bar complaints. We need to put in some more. You can too. You can too. The more, the better. Wait a second. What about Justice Scalia? Because I met his son, the one who looks like him. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the fact is, our criminal justice system is a beautiful thing when you have it running right. And if they're not right, if they're not rightfully in those positions, then they need to be taken out, meaning, arrested, held accountable. They cannot be sitting in those positions illegally. That's why we have law and order. And if they're not going to abide by that simple requirement, then they shouldn't be there. They can't be there. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming on. And I know it's Saturday, and we're burning the midnight oil again. But this is really important, and I hope you share it. I hope you share this video. I hope you talk about Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart. It's very important that James Hart, the Hart family, they are really the prime suspects, along with Tavita Nusa, which is a family member, right? So that is really important to get that information out because they need to be held accountable for what they've done, um, for what we think that they've done. They are the prime suspects in our investigation. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.